The cake hit the trash can with a dull thud, the frosting smearing against the black plastic like it belonged there. My son's 8th birthday cake. The one he'd begged for, the one I stayed up until 2 a.m. decorating with tiny soccer balls, was gone. And my sister stood there, arms crossed, lips curled in that cruel smirk I knew too well. "He didn't deserve it anyway," she sneered. The words cut through me sharper than any knife. My son's face crumpled, tears already streaming down his cheeks. I froze. For a heartbeat I thought maybe I'd misheard her. Maybe she didn't mean it like that. But then she laughed. A short, ugly laugh that snapped something inside me. I grabbed my boy's hand. He looked up at me with trembling lips, searching for safety, for protection. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. The silence was louder than any scream. We walked out. Past the balloons, past the relatives whispering, past my sister's smug face. Out the door into the cold night. I slammed it shut behind me as if I could shut her out of our lives forever. That night, as I tucked my son into bed, I swore something I hadn't dared before. I will never let anyone make him feel unwanted again. Not even family. Especially not family. The next morning my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice was shaky, tears clinging to every word. "Please," she begged, "please talk to the venue before they cancel your sister's wedding. They said the payment bounced. If you don't help, there won't be a wedding." Her wedding. My sister's wedding. The same sister who threw my son's birthday cake away like trash. The same sister who told him he didn't deserve happiness. I stared at the phone, my mother's sobs spilling through the speaker, and in that moment something inside me shifted. My name is Rachel Carter. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Biz, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated like a stranger in your own family? The day my son's birthday cake was thrown away was the day I began planning the end of my sister's perfect wedding. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the kitchen with the dim light flickering above me, listening to the sound of my son's soft breathing down the hall. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smirk. I saw his tears. I saw that cake in the trash like it meant nothing. By morning, the bitterness inside me had sharpened into something else. Clarity. The phone buzzed again. Her voice was raw, like she'd been crying all night. "They're going to cancel the booking, Rachel. The deposit bounced. Your sister, she doesn't have the money right now. Please talk to them. Maybe you can cover it just until she gets back on her feet." I almost laughed. Cover it? The venue was a high-end country estate outside town, charging nearly $12,000 just for the space. My sister wanted chandeliers and horse-drawn carriages. She wanted the fairy tale. Meanwhile, my son had asked for a cake. Just a cake. I swallowed the fury rising in my throat. "Mom," I said slowly, "do you remember what she did yesterday?" There was silence. Then the sound of Mom's breath hitching. "She didn't mean it. You know how your sister gets when she's stressed. But this is her wedding. It's the biggest day of her life. Please don't hold a grudge." A grudge. That's what she called it. I closed my eyes, pinching the bridge of my nose. For years my family had treated my sister like a fragile jewel, and me like the sturdy box that carried her. When she failed, I was the one expected to hold everything together. When she lashed out, I was the one told to forgive. Always. Always me. But not this time. "Mom," I whispered, "if she can't keep her wedding together, that's on her. Don't ever ask me to fix it." And I hung up. The silence after felt heavier than any argument. But underneath that silence, something else sparked. A thought. A plan. If my sister wanted her fairy tale, I was going to rewrite the ending. I started small. I called the venue myself, pretending to be her. My voice was calm, sweet, desperate. I asked them to extend the deadline another week, knowing full well she couldn't come up with the money. Then I reached out to the florist, the decorator, the caterer. I sprinkled just enough doubt in their minds about her reliability, hinting that maybe they should ask for larger deposits, or look for backup clients. Little seeds planted quietly. I wasn't sabotaging her. Not yet. I was simply pulling back the curtain so everyone else could see the chaos she'd been hiding. That night I looked at my son as he slept. his little hand curled under his cheek, his breath warm and steady. And I realized, this wasn't about revenge. Not really. This was about teaching her, and maybe my whole family, that cruelty has consequences. But even I couldn't have guessed how far those consequences would spread. Because sometimes when you push a storm hard enough, it doesn't just blow back on the guilty. It tears the whole house apart. 2 days later, I was standing in line at the grocery store when I saw her. My sister. Linda. Her perfect manicure wrapped around a phone, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. No, Mom, I don't care. Rachel is being dramatic. Okay. She always does. My hand tightened on the shopping cart handle. I lowered my eyes, but I didn't have to look at her to know her expression. Smug. Titled. Certain the world bent for her. She brushed past me without even noticing, her perfume leaving a trail of arrogance in the air. I didn't move. I just watched her walk away, and in that moment I made a decision. I wasn't going to wait for her wedding to collapse under its own weight. I was going to bring it down myself. That night, after tucking my son into bed, I sat down with my laptop. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, my pulse thrumming in my ears. Then I started typing. Emails. Calls. Quiet little detonations disguised as whispers. The DJ? I sent him a polite message, posing as Amanda, saying she wanted to go in a different direction. His slot filled within 24 hours. The baker? I called, explaining there'd been a family emergency, and the wedding might be postponed. She pulled the order, booked another client, and by the time Amanda tried to call back, her dream cake was gone. Piece by piece, her fairy tale unraveled. By the third night, I sat at the kitchen table, the only light coming from the glow of my screen. My son's drawing, a messy crayon soccer ball with "Happy Day plus me" scrawled across it, hung on the fridge behind me. That was my anchor. Every time I hesitated, I looked at it and remembered why. But sabotage has a way of showing its teeth. On the 4th day, Amanda called me. Her voice was brittle like glass about to crack. Did you do something? I let silence stretch until she snapped. The DJ says I cancelled. The baker dropped me. And the venue is threatening to give my date away if I don't pay by Friday. What the hell is happening? I smiled into the receiver, but my voice came out steady, almost bored. Maybe the universe is telling you something, Amanda. Maybe you don't deserve it anyway. There was silence. Then the sharp sound of her breath catching, the words striking her the way hers had struck my son. You bitch. I hung up. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the background character in her story. I felt like the author. But revenge has a taste. Sharp, intoxicating, addictive. And once you've had a sip, it's hard not to drink deeper. I thought I'd stop there. I thought that would be enough. But the truth? That was only the prologue. The real wedding disaster hadn't even begun. The calls started pouring in the next morning. First Mom, then Dad, then cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. Each one a different voice, the same message. Rachel, you have to help Amanda. She's falling apart. Help her. That was always the refrain, wasn't it? Amanda set the fire and I was expected to hold the hose. By noon, Mom was on my doorstep. She didn't knock, she just barged in like she always had the right. Her eyes were red, her hair messy, the weight of desperation pulling her shoulders down. She's your sister, she pleaded, wringing her hands. Do you understand what this means if the wedding is cancelled? People will talk. Her fiancé's family will never forgive this. Please, Rachel, just loan her the money. I felt my jaw tighten. Loan her the money. The words tasted like poison. Did you see what she did to your grandson? Did you see her throw his birthday cake in the trash like it was garbage? My voice rose, sharper than I meant, but I didn't stop. She humiliated him in front of everyone. She told him he didn't deserve it. And you want me to fix her mess? Mom's lips trembled. She whispered, "It was just a cake." That broke something in me. Just a cake. I looked at my mother. The woman who raised me, who should have protected me, protected my son, and I realized she would never change. Amanda would always be her shining star. Me. I was just the shadow. Get out, I said, my voice calm, deadly calm. If it's just a cake, then her wedding is just a party. Her face crumpled, but I didn't flinch. I held the door open until she finally walked out, her sobs echoing down the hall. That night, Amanda posted on Facebook a glossy photo of her and her fiancé, smiling like royalty, captioned, "True love can't be broken. Can't wait to marry the man of my dreams this Saturday." Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments. Hearts and confetti emojis flooding the screen. But I knew the truth. The DJ was gone. The cake was gone. The florist was halfway out the door. And the venue was demanding money she didn't have. Still, Amanda wasn't going to go down quietly. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You're going to regret this." No name. No details. But I didn't need them. It was Amanda. For the first time, she wasn't just spoiled. She was cornered. And cornered people are dangerous. I sat in the kitchen staring at that message, the glow of the screen lighting my face in the dark. And I thought to myself, maybe she was right. Maybe I would regret this. But not tonight. Not tomorrow. The regret would come later. The kind that tastes like blood in the mouth and smoke in the lungs. Because Amanda was about to learn. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. And I wasn't done shaking the ladder. By Friday, the cracks in Amanda's fairy tale were showing everywhere. The florist canceled outright. The caterer demanded cash up front or nothing. The venue sent a final warning. Pay by midnight or lose the date. And Amanda? She was unraveling. I found out the hard way. That afternoon, I came home from work to see my front door ajar. My stomach dropped. I rushed inside, heart hammering, and there she was, standing in my living room like she owned it. Amanda. She had one of my son's toys in her hand, a small action figure. Her nails dug into its plastic body until the head popped off and clattered to the floor. "What the hell are you doing here?" I snapped, my voice louder than I intended. She turned slowly, her face blotchy from crying, mascara streaked down her cheeks. But her eyes were fire. "You think you're clever?" she spat. "You think I don't know it's you? The DJ, the cake, the florist, all of it. You're destroying me." I kept my back straight, my voice steady. "I didn't destroy you, Amanda. You did that yourself." Her lip curled. She stepped closer, close enough I could smell the alcohol on her breath. "You're jealous. You've always been jealous. I'm getting married and you're just, what? A single mom with a brat who doesn't even deserve a cake." The words hit like a knife twisting in my chest. But I didn't flinch. Not this time. I leaned in, lowering my voice so it cut sharper than a scream. "Say whatever you want about me. But don't you ever talk about my son again." For a second, her bravado slipped. Her eyes flickered, her breath hitched. Then she shoved past me, storming out the door, slamming it so hard the frame rattled. My son came out of his room, rubbing his eyes. "Mom? What happened?" I crouched down, pulled him close, kissed his forehead. "Nothing you need to worry about, baby. Go back to bed." But as he padded down the hall, I stood there shaking, adrenaline coursing through me. Amanda had crossed a line. She wasn't just spiraling, she was dangerous. And yet, part of me smiled. Because every move she made, every outburst, only made her look more unstable. The facade she'd built her whole life was cracking in front of everyone. That night, I sat at my laptop again. Only this time, I wasn't planting seeds of doubt. I was lighting matches. I drafted an email, carefully worded, dripping with polite concern. From an anonymous account, I sent it to her fiancé's family. "I thought you should know. The bride-to-be has missed multiple payments. Several vendors have dropped her. You may want to ask if she's truly ready for marriage." I hovered over send, my finger trembling. Then I clicked. The email flew into the void, a spark thrown onto dry grass. And I knew by morning the fire would spread. By Saturday morning the air felt electric, like the seconds before a storm breaks. I woke to 20 notifications buzzing my phone. Family group chats exploding, cousins whispering, mom leaving frantic voicemails. But it was the last message that made my chest tighten. A screenshot, forwarded by a cousin. Amanda's fiancé's mother had posted on Facebook. "Trust is the foundation of marriage. Without honesty and responsibility, there is nothing." The comments were already piling up. Cryptic, sharp, dripping with suspicion. Amanda had been exposed. By noon, I heard she was at her fiancé's house, screaming in the driveway while his family stood stiff and cold on the porch. Neighbors filmed it, phones lifted like torches in the dark. I watched the clips circulate online within hours. Amanda, wild-eyed, mascara smeared, clutching her fiancé's arm as he tried to pull away. Her voice cracked as she shouted, "It's not my fault. My sister is doing this. She's ruining everything." But the videos had no context. To anyone else, it just looked like a bride unraveling days before her wedding. And the internet is cruel. The comments stung like hornets. "She's crazy. Run, bro, before it's too late." Red flags everywhere. By evening, Amanda showed up at my door again. This time she didn't knock. She pounded. Her fists thudded against the wood like war drums. I opened it just enough to see her face. She looked hollow, pale, trembling, her eyes rimmed red. "You did this," she hissed. "I know it's you. You think you've won? You're destroying my life." I met her gaze, my own voice low, even. "You destroyed yourself, Amanda. I just stopped cleaning up the mess." For a heartbeat I thought she might hit me. Her hand twitched, curled into a fist, then fell limp at her side. She spat on the ground instead, her rage spilling over, and stormed off into the night. I shut the door, locked it, pressed my back against the wood. My hands were shaking. But beneath the tremor I felt something else. Relief. Vindication. Even a strange, quiet joy. For the first time, Amanda was facing the world without me shielding her. And the world was merciless. That night, as my son slept, I sat at the table again, staring into the darkness. I thought about the years I'd been invisible, the years Amanda had stolen the spotlight while I carried the weight. And I thought about my boy, his birthday cake in the trash, his tears staining my shoulder. This wasn't just revenge anymore. It was reclamation. Still, I couldn't shake the unease in my chest. Because if there was one thing I knew about Amanda, it was this. She would never go down quietly. She would drag everyone with her, clawing, screaming, until there was nothing left. And the wedding day was still 3 days away. The real disaster hadn't even arrived. The morning of Amanda's wedding broke heavy and gray, clouds swollen like they were holding their breath. I drove past the venue just to see my son in the backseat humming to himself, blissfully unaware. From the road I saw chaos. Vendors packing vans. Workers dragging boxes. The manicured lawn where her fairy tale ceremony was supposed to bloom looked abandoned, half-decorated, flowers wilting in buckets. And in the center of it all, Amanda stood in her white dress. Alone. Screaming into her phone, her veil tangled around her shoulders, mascara streaks cutting down her face like black rivers. Her fiancé wasn't there. His family wasn't there. Just Amanda, the staff ignoring her as they stripped her dream bare piece by piece. I parked a block away. I shouldn't have watched. I should have turned around, taken my son home, baked him a cake just to give him back that memory. But I couldn't. I had to see it. Amanda's voice carried across the lawn. "You can't do this to me. I paid." "No, you didn't," the venue manager snapped. His voice was cold, businesslike. "Your sister said the payment bounced. We gave you every chance. It's over." He froze at the word. Over. Her phone slipped from her hand, landing in the grass. For a moment she just stood there, trembling, hollow, stripped of every ounce of power she'd ever had. And then, she saw me. Her eyes locked onto mine across the distance. He knew. I knew. Nothing needed to be said. He screamed, raw, guttural animal. She charged toward me, dress dragging through the mud, veil flapping like torn wings. I didn't move. I let her come. When she reached me, she shoved me hard against my car, her nails clawing at my arm. "You ruined me," she shrieked. "You took everything." I grabbed her wrists, holding her back, my voice steady despite my racing pulse. "No, Amanda. I just stopped letting you take from me." Her knees buckled. She collapsed onto the pavement, the white silk of her dress pooling like spilled milk around her. She sobbed, loud, ugly sobs that echoed through the empty street. People gathered at the edges. Guests who had shown up, confused, in their best clothes. Neighbors who'd heard the commotion. Phones lifted. Cameras rolling. Amanda, once the princess of every family gathering, was now a broken bride, wailing in her ruined gown, broadcast to anyone with a screen. My son peeked out the window of the car. "Mom? Is she okay?" I swallowed hard, my throat tight. "She will be," I said softly. "Someday." But I knew the truth. This wasn't a stumble. It was a freefall. And when Amanda fell, she wouldn't just crash. She'd shatter. I turned away, buckled my son in, and drove off, leaving her behind in the wreckage of her own making. But even as I pulled onto the highway, her screams still echoed in my head. This was almost over. Almost. The final blow was still waiting. 2 days later I got the call. Not from Mom. Not from Amanda. From her ex-fiancé. His voice was steady, polite, almost businesslike. "I just wanted you to know. I ended things with Amanda. My family saw enough. There's no trust left. I'm sorry it came to this." Sorry. That word lingered long after the line went dead. Not because I needed his apology, but because Amanda never gave me one. She never gave my son one. And now she never would. By evening, the news spread through the family like wildfire. Amanda's dream wedding was officially dead. Guests who had flown across the country were stranded in hotel rooms, whispering about the scandal. My mother called again, her voice flat this time, defeated. "Rachel," she whispered, "your sister is broken. She won't leave her room. She keeps saying you did this to her." I closed my eyes, exhaling slowly. "No, Mom. He did it to herself. I just stopped cleaning up her mess." The silence that followed was heavy, like a curtain falling. For once, Mom didn't argue. She just hung up. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my son. A small cake sat between us, chocolate with crooked blue icing spelling his name. Nothing fancy. Nothing grand. Just ours. He blew out the candles, his little face glowing in the soft light. And for the first time in years I felt peace. Not because Amanda had fallen, but because I'd finally stood up. Still, as the days passed, I caught whispers. Amanda blaming me to anyone who would listen. Amanda crying online about toxic family betrayal. Amanda painting herself as the victim, even in ruin. But this time the world didn't believe her. The videos, the photos, the truth, it was all out there. People had seen her tantrums, her cruelty, her collapse. The mask was gone. And in its place she was just Amanda. I didn't gloat. I didn't dance on her ashes. I simply let her fade. Because the best revenge was never her destruction. It was my freedom. Weeks later, I passed the venue again, the same place where her fairy tale had collapsed. The grass was green, the chandeliers glowing in the windows. Another bride walking arm in arm with her father. I parked for a moment, watching from a distance. Then I whispered to myself. This could have been hers. But she chose cruelty. And cruelty always eats itself alive. The wind carried my words away. The chapter was closed. At home that night, I tucked my son into bed. He looked up at me with sleepy eyes, whispering, "Mom? You'll always protect me, right?" I brushed the hair from his forehead, my voice steady, certain. "Always, baby. Always." And for the first time in a long time, I knew it was true. Because Amanda's story was over. And ours was just beginning.